This is scandalous. Not interesting.
OK.
This is where the inconsistency of referees against my team, Manchester United, is totally wrong.
I thought you were Everton.
Mourinho got sent off earlier on in the season.
He did.
Against Southampton for stepping a yard onto the pitch.
Yeah.
Pep Guardiola got sent off for 10 yards on the pitch. What do we think?
Well, what happened with Jose Mourinho down at Southampton was the FA took no action over it because it was an error of judgment by the referee. It wasn't serious, irresponsible behaviour, and the fourth official obviously thought it was, so it went no further. So we can sort of draw a line on that and move on. The situation, you'll see it now on the screen.
So he's a yard on the pitch, Mourinho.
Yeah.
Yeah. There he is.
Yeah.
He's just walked onto the pitch.
Yeah, it's just a little irresponsible.
Exuberant.
Over-enthusiastic. I mean, the fourth official has made an error of judgment. This is different, you know. What we found with this is that he will have probably got what we call a stage 1 warning because his behaviour is a bit irresponsible.
He's a bit further than the yard onto the pitch.
Well, so what you're saying irresponsible? You're saying that Mourinho is irresponsible, but he gets sent off. Pep goes on there. 10 yards, it's irresponsible, but he gets a grade 1 warning.
No,
look, I think that's brilliant. I think that shows emotion of the game, last minute. Mourinho too. I just think, are we really trying to take the emotion out of the game?
I agree wholeheartedly with what you're saying. What we're not trying to do is take the emotion out of the game, and he celebrated. The Mourinho one, obviously, the FA took no further action, so there was an error of judgment there by the fourth official. Last night, what you'll find is the fourth official will probably remind him of his responsibilities, but we don't want to see enthusiasm curtailed. I mean, that's what the fans want to see.
Absolutely.
That's terrific stuff.
That's the end of Ref Watch from midweek. We're going to get you back in, though, because we want to get a little section on diving. We'll get your thoughts on that. Thanks to Chris Boy for that. Before we leave today, we can't be at the touch table without having a look at the biggest game of the weekend, where there is certainly no love lost between the two managers.
Wenger complaining is normal.
I'm embarrassed for him, honestly.
He is a specialist in failing. I'm not.
I don't listen to what he says.
Only one manager is not under pressure. He can push people in the technical area, can cry in the morning, can cry in the afternoon, nothing happens.
It's opinions, but I don't live with opinions, I live with facts.
Some people speak too much.
The rivalry is real.
Wenger Mourinho, does that rivalry still exist?
Yes, I think it does. I don't think they like each other. I don't think they speak to each other. There is obviously a lot of hatred between them because of the comments that particularly Jose's made. You know, it's something I think he's been a little bit naughty in press conferences towards Arsene Wenger, a little bit disrespectful. There was the pushing incident between Chelsea and Arsenal on the touchline at Stamford Bridge. And, you know, in a game like this, I think what makes the Premier League so good. You want a little bit. Friday's press conferences, I think, will be interesting to see if Jose stokes it up a little bit. Look, it's a big game for both clubs.
Yeah, no, it certainly is. In terms of the teams and how they line up, how do you expect Mourinho to go about it? I mean, we've seen him go away from home. He's been defensive. He's been negative at times. Is it going to be the same at Arsenal, or are they going to be a little bit more adventurous at last?
They went to Watford the other night and played 3 at the back, which meant they had 2 up front. I mean, at home they've been playing with 3 up front. Will they play Rashford, Lukaku and Martial up front away from home? At home, yes.
I think the answer is probably no.
No, the answer is no. So I think, I know there is a doubt. There is a doubt about Matic, but I think he'll go back to something like that and 2 up front. I think he likes the 3 at the back now because I think it suits Victor Lindelof and I think it suits Rojo, who's come back in and played really well. The wing-backs obviously like getting forward, which means he gets 2 centre-forwards.
You've just taken Rashford off the pitch there.
Yeah.
Is he leaving Rashford out and keeping Martial in the team?
It's a toss-up. I actually think at the moment that Martial is playing better. He's scoring.
More of a goal
He looks
threat.
fresher. He's more of a goal threat. And Rashford, who's been involved in every single Manchester United game, I think he's been just taken out for a reason. Maybe saving him for a Manchester derby. Got a couple of weeks rest where he's not started, and he comes back a little bit fresher.
What about this man, Romelu Lukaku? Not in the best of form. Low confidence. 1 goal in what, 11?
Yeah, not in the best of form in terms of goal scoring, but you know what? I think I see an improvement in him. I think he's trying too hard. I see him at the moment. He's playing on the right. He's chasing back there. He's dropping back into midfield. He's on the left-hand side. I think the Romelu Lukaku that we knew at Everton...
Not in the box often enough.
Not in the box when it matters. He used to just stay in between the width of the 18-yard box there. And now I think, because he's not playing well and people are saying he doesn't work hard enough, I think he's trying too hard. And with the introduction of Zlatan back as well, I just wonder whether that's giving him a little bit more pressure and he's trying too hard to impress.
I mean, there's another one. I mean, you've talked about Rashford or Martial. Would he potentially go Zlatan up there alongside Lukaku, maybe, and say, do you know what, just drop him off a little bit into that sort of position?
It is an option. I don't think he's ready to play.
No.
Myself.
Let's put Martial back in.
Ibrahimovic. I think he's still only a 20 minutes per. I think the knee is obviously still recovering. He's getting his sharpness back. And if you take Martial or Rashford out, you lose a lot of speed. And when this man gets the ball, the first thing he looks for is the runs in behind from Martial or Rashford or Lukaku. So I think that's the team that they'll go with. If he's not playing, and when he came off against Watford the other night when United were in total control and Herrera came on, United nearly went to pieces. So that is a big loss if he doesn't play.
Bailly and Jones both have been injured. Can you see either of those being fit and back in the team? Or what about this guy, Lindelof? I mean, the last couple of games, he's been in the team.
Yeah.
He's been bullied a little bit in games. I saw him against Brighton. I thought Glenn Murray bullied him at times.
Yeah.
He was poor against Huddersfield, wasn't he, going back? But actually, he seems pretty composed on the ball, and he's kicked on the last few matches.
He's fantastic on the ball. I think the centre-forwards that you're talking about there, Glenn Murray, Depoitre at Huddersfield, big, strong lads. Troy Deeney, when he came on the other night, he struggles against, causing problems. He's good on the ball. He was up against Richarlison the other night. Richarlison is someone that's quick, elusive, goes out to wide areas. He was absolutely fantastic, Victor Lindelof.
So in some ways, actually, with Lacazette being injured for Arsenal, that might suit Arsenal, really, with Giroud up against him rather than Lacazette.
Yeah, in terms of physicality, I think Victor Lindelof would prefer to play against Lacazette than Olivier Giroud. But Sanchez plays in this left-hand side, and I think Jose will say to Victor Lindelof, who's quick, look, he's perfect for you. He's got the mobility, the speed, and you can match that. And I just think the back three, they look a little bit more solid, and it allows them to be, Martial to be a little bit more central. And you've got to look at maybe Jesse Lingard as well, because he played well the other night. So it's a game where I don't think they're allowed to defend. I think they've got to go and attack.
Let's have a look at some of the goals that United scored against Watford. You mentioned Jesse Lingard. He scored a cracking goal. We saw some really good goals, though, didn't we, from them?
We did, and it was United attacking. I mean,
Lingard, will he be in the team?
He could be if Matic is not fit. He played really well. I mean, there's nobody playing better than Ashley Young at this moment in time. This was... Look, we can talk all day about this goal, whether it's the goalkeeper's fault. We've got to praise the strike from Ashley Young. And this is why I think Martial will play. Because I think he's a better finisher than Rashford at this moment in time, and he's got that composure. And they struggled. They struggled in the second half because they took the foot off the gas.
Yeah.
And Watford nearly got back into the game. They really did. They were 3-2 in the game. Rocco gives away a silly penalty.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Watford, who played OK in the game, got the tails up. They were getting crosses into the box. That's Carrillo into Decore.
But it's another 4 goals for United, and it's 8 times they've done that this season already.
Yeah, I mean, people saying boring Jose Mourinho, but I think to have any ounce of idea of catching Manchester City, they've got to play like this. They've got to take risks. They've got to take players on, commit men forward. And that's a brilliant goal from Jesse Lingard, and it was another impressive victory.
Yeah, no, it's a huge win, isn't it, going into that game against Arsenal for Manchester United. Let's hear from the Arsenal manager. They're in great form, aren't they, at home? Let's hear from Arsene Wenger ahead of this game.
Always a game you had absolutely to win the championship, you know, and but now you have many other teams who are in that as well, and but no matter what is at stake, it's a prestigious game and a big game with 3 points at stake. I'm looking forward always to play a big game, you know. I never focus too much on the manager.
He's not too worried about Jose Mourinho. No, they had a great performance, didn't they, against Spurs at the Emirates recently. He'll be hoping for something similar. And another performance like against Huddersfield, where Sanchez and Ozil was so impressive.
Well, you look back to the Tottenham game we've got to look at. What was their strengths that day? It was their intensity in the way that they pressed. And I think that's why, for me, I think he'll go Welbeck.
Do you?
Yeah, because I think he's got more speed.
Came on, didn't he?
That looks a lot more quicker. That looks a lot more energy up front with Ramsey joining. Well, the problems that we always talk about on this show is, how are these two going to play in central midfield? Now, all of a sudden, they look a balanced team, and it's because these three up front, Sanchez, and Ozil in particular,
and it's been Lacazette,
are starting to work hard for the team. They're becoming team players. They're getting back into shape. And this is a real tough game for Manchester United.
Is that back three good enough to stop the front of these?
Well, they're going to have to defend well, but Arsenal have got the confidence, they've got the home form. I fear for Manchester United on Sunday.
Do you?
Yeah, I really do. I think this Arsenal team are a dangerous side. The way they play against Spurs, if they can keep that intensity, then I think Arsenal could win this game.
Yeah, it's going to be a really interesting game, isn't it? Wenger against Jose Mourinho, Arsenal against Man United. When they're good, they're very good, Phil.
They are, and you know, over the last probably 5 or 6 years, we've spoke really poorly about Arsenal at times. At the moment, we're not, because they're playing well, they're in good form. Ozil and Sanchez have got smiles on their faces. They're playing with freedom. They're playing how you expect an Arsenal team to play. I think Huddersfield last night was still, after the energy that they put into the game on Sunday against City, I think they went there last night and the pitch was too big for them. Arsenal was absolutely sensational. And it allowed Arsene Wenger to rotate his team a little bit.
Two of the contract rebels as well, Ozil and Sanchez, in great form and were again last night, combining brilliantly at times.
They were. I mean, they started off really well. Lacazette got them off. But it's all about Ozil for me at the moment. Sanchez sticking it in, but it was Ozil that went down the right-hand side and put it in. This is a brilliant finish, and what you see, he bumps the ball into the ground to get it over the Huddersfield keeper there. It's fantastic. And you see about these two players and how happy they are at the moment and how well they're playing. In 6 months' time, they're out of contract, so they have to start playing well, and that's what's happening.
I understand that. I mean, Arsene Wenger said there's no way they're going to leave in January.
No.
What about next season? Is there any way they're going to sign a new deal and still be at the club next year?
Sanchez, no. I don't think there's any hope that he'll stay at Arsenal. I think he's made his mind up. He probably knows exactly where he's going, whether that's PSG or Manchester City, we don't know. I think Ozil, there's a chance. I think he likes London. I think he likes Arsenal. Obviously, he doubted whether the pressure that he was under he could play, but that Mesut Ozil that's played in the last 2 or 3 weeks is the Mesut Ozil that we know.
We know your Man United allegiance. Would you like to see Mesut Ozil at Old Trafford?
No, because I think when you're assessing a player, 3 games isn't enough. I want to see Mesut Ozil do that for 6 months, a season. This kind of level of performance, commitment, body language, joy, because he is a fantastic player. The Mesut Ozil that we see for Arsenal now is the one that I see in World Cups for Germany. We haven't seen that on a consistent basis.
What about Huddersfield? I mean, a big defeat for them. A defeat late against Man City at the weekend. All of a sudden, that early season optimism starting to fade. Only scored 9 goals as well.
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried about Huddersfield, and they were brilliant on Sunday against Man City, but I'm worried because I'm not so sure they've got the quality, particularly in the final third. I think there's a lot of energy in the team, there's a lot of legs, but have they got the real quality to stay in the Premier League? I think it's going to be a massive December for them. They've got to pick up some points.
And their home form is crucial, isn't it? Because away from home, they look beatable, don't they?
Yeah, but even at home, they have to. If you're that bad away from home, you've got to get 3 points at home. Draws aren't good enough, and I just worry, you know, for Newcastle, for Huddersfield. I think Brighton are okay. I think Newcastle and Huddersfield are the 2 promoted teams that I worry about the most.
Everton away next for them as well. So
tough game, new
Sam
manager.
Allardyce.
Yeah, and Everton now look like they've got a little bit of confidence back, so it's another tough game for them.
The 84th minute against Huddersfield, the 96th minute against Southampton. Man City finding a way. Sign of champions, Phil Neville?
It is. It's the biggest sign of champions. I think when you're like Man City and have won a lot of games quite convincingly this season, the last 2 results probably would have pleased Pep more than the 5-0 wins, the 4-0 wins, because it shows another side to them. It shows they've got character. It shows that they dig in. It shows that they never give up. And those types of qualities are something you can't buy.
You've been there, haven't you? Fergie time. It's now Pep time, isn't it?
Well, it's a great quality to have in your team, because it's not going to go plain sailing all season. There are going to be moments when Southampton came like they did last night and literally parked the bus at one end of the pitch and said, right, you've got to try and beat us. And virtually throughout the game, they frustrated Manchester City. But then that one moment of brilliance when you keep persevering, you keep trying to get down the door, and you have a moment of brilliance from Sterling. But when we used to do it at Manchester United, the biggest sign was the celebration. You look at them celebrating down the touchline. The players, the staff, the injured players,
Mendy,
the supporters, Mendy with his selfies and his mobile. Look, that shows that they've got team spirit, and the pictures and the interviews after show how big a win that was for Man City.
What about Raheem Sterling then, and the job that Pep Guardiola's done with him as well? I mean, the confidence looked low. It looked like he possibly might even be on his way out of the club, and he's had such an impact this season.
I think he's probably most improved player in the Premier League. Technically, he's improved. His goals obviously have got better. His positions he's taken on the pitch, it looks like Pep spent an awful lot of time with just putting the finishing touches to what, he's got a lot in his armour. And it's funny, really, because if he'd signed Alexis Sanchez at the start of the season, could he have gone the other way to Arsenal? Only time, we'll never know that, but he's definitely a massive part of what Pep's building there.
I think at times we've been a little bit critical maybe of his finishing. But what about that finish last night and so late on in the game as well?
Yeah, I mean, I've never been totally convinced that he's a great finisher of the ball. I think at the final moment, his final pass and his technique tend to let him down in the past. But that is sensational. In the last minute, the last kick of the game, the 95th minute, I think it was. You expect De Bruyne to score a goal like this. But now Raheem Sterling, his technique's getting better, his end product's getting better, and he's scoring important goals. And just look at them celebrations. That is against Southampton at home. Was it the 12th, 13th game of the season? Yeah. Imagine what they're going to do when it's the 36th game of the season. They're going for the league title.
Yeah, no real pressure on him there, Raheem Sterling. But top scorer at the club. I mean, when you think about some of the players that they've got and the goal scorers they've got in that team as well.
Yeah, I think it's because of the positions he's taken up. I think for the last probably 18 months, he's spent a lot of time out on the wing. In one-on-one positions, maybe getting to the byline, crossing. Now he's more central. Now he's having more impact. If you're an opposition manager, you're looking at Raheem Sterling and said, we've got to stop this guy. Even probably equally as Jesus and Aguero, you have them as well. So he's really important.
How many points has he won at Man City this season with his late goals, Raheem Sterling? I mean, he did it at the weekend against Huddersfield. Yeah. He's done it earlier in the season, didn't he, against Bournemouth as well? He's done it on numerous occasions now.
Oh, the first home game of the season against Man City. I mean, Everton played so well in this game, and then he comes up with the equaliser at Huddersfield at the weekend when Huddersfield played so well. Slightly fortunate, but you've got to be in the right place at the right time to score these winners. And this, for me, is his best goal of the season so far because...
They don't get close to him, do they?
No, they don't get close to him, but that technique, it's not as if he's absolutely rifled it. He's just used a good technique. He's bent it past Fraser Forster, who's a big size. Give him no chance.
And last night, of course, no Sane, David Silva on the bench. The squad is pretty impressive at the moment. It's going to be tested as well over the course of the next 6 games. Some big matches coming up, aren't there?
Yeah, there's some big matches coming up. I think they've got 11 games from now to the end of January, so that's a lot of fixtures. It's why that they're rotating. They've got West Ham at home at the weekend, which you think could be a home banker. Then it's the big one. When they go to Old Trafford, I think it's the one that everybody's waiting for. Who can stop this Manchester City team? I think teams have tried to defend, like Southampton. They get beat. Teams have gone toe-to-toe and got beat. What will Jose Mourinho do?
Premier League needs it, don't they? They need a Man United and a Tottenham maybe to get a result against them. Huddersfield and Southampton have come close, but there's still that 8-point gap now.
No, but I think what the last two games have done with Huddersfield Southampton, they've shown that actually, they've probably shown a blueprint of how to play against Manchester City in terms of playing a little bit deeper, playing almost parking the bus and looking to counter-attack and set pieces as well. So I just wonder whether Jose's thinking that is the way we've got to go.
And do you think that's what he'll do? I mean, can anybody stop this Man City team, do you think?
Look, I was asked last week, do you think they can go the whole season undefeated? And I said yes, I think they can. I think they're that good at the moment. I think United and Chelsea are playing well, but they're nowhere near the level of this Man City team at this moment in time in terms of strength and depth, quality of football, the way that they're destroying teams at times, and it's going to be a big, big game for Manchester United because the whole of the Premier League will probably want Manchester United to win, just to bring Man City back closer to the league.
We talked about the celebrations post-match. What about Pep Guardiola's actions with Nathan Redmond after the game? What do we make of that?
Well, I've seen him do this before in Germany, but that is an opposing player. And I think what he's saying to Nathan Redmond is, you're a good player, we need to see more than that. I think Nathan Redmond covers his mouth saying, will you come and buy me in January, maybe? But, you know what? If I was the Southampton manager, I would be probably a little bit angry, saying, well, he's not your player, Pep. Stay away from my business. I don't interfere with yours. But I have seen him do that before, where he has done something like that on a training pitch or on a match, but never to an opposition player. Probably a compliment to Nathan Redmond that he rates him so highly. And I think what he was saying was, you spent too much time defending, you've got so much quality going forward, make sure you don't do that again. I'm afraid that's nothing to do with Pep.